Hello, and welcome to another tank review. I'm Corny Swiss, and today we're looking at the Panther II, rank 5, 8.0 battle rating for the Germans. As with every other review, if you want to see something in particular, check out the description. I have timestamps to the various parts of the review, realistic, simulator battle, whatever you want to see. It's down there. Enjoy. If you want to stick around for the in-garage look, let's get started. So the Panther II, it's an interesting tank. It really is. I mean, the first thing you notice is one, it's got all these goofy contraptions on there. But the tank, it's interesting. Let's start with the armor. The armor is underwhelming, I guess. The hull armor is 100 at the front, which is not bad, rank 5, but it's really well sloped. So the hull armor isn't bad at rank 5, but it's not good. You really need to angle, like every other Panther, I guess. You have to angle. The only issue with this is that the turret is set so far back and the gun is so long that it's more difficult to angle around corners. You have to come out sort of like this rather than with the other Panther you could do it like, this. But I mean, that's a slight change. The turret armor is 120 at the front, which is, in my opinion, pretty thin for the guns this tank faces. T-54s, IS-4s, IS-3s, any of the Russian tank destroyers from Su-100 up will have no problem with the turret of the turret face. And that's kind of an issue because the hull armor, I mean, people generally don't shoot you in the front of the hull unless you make them. And they generally shoot for like the front of the turret if they can. So that's a little debatable. It's not very good in my opinion. But it's weird, and we'll talk about why. Side armor, 60 millimeters on the side of the turret and the tank, 40 on the back of the tank, 60 on the back of the turret. The side armor is also pretty interesting because it has this side skirt here, and that side skirt is actually really effective at taking a hit for you. Because you notice, like, let's say you're side scraping like this. If they decide to shoot the side of your tank, which I don't know why they would because the best target is your turret. Excuse me. If they do, this side skirt will take one shot at least for you. And they probably won't pen the side of your tank at this angle. They might if there's no side skirt, but with the side skirt, probably not. So obviously it's the same on the other side. But the side armor is kind of paper. But that's kind of the same of all mediums, and mediums at this tier is that the side armor is paper. But I guess the idea is you're not getting shot in the side, you're getting shot in the front. Rear armor, obviously, I mean, it's whatever. If someone's behind you, they're going to kill you anyway, so who cares about the rear armor? Now, as a whole, I don't like the armor, but it's not the worst ever. So that's kind of like the overarching thing about the armor. The engine, really good engine, 700 horsepower, 3,000 RPM, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, same as on the Jagdtiger. The Jagdtiger is a 75.2 ton machine. This is a 47 ton machine. This thing can start moving. It can move at 51 kilometers an hour. Yep, on you can do that on like maybe Kursk, if you get enough of a run up. But the tank itself has a lot of engine power for the weight. I noticed that when you want to turn, like just standing still, if you can shift it into second gear, you can turn really fast on this tank. And the turret traverse is 12 degrees a second, which feels really fast in War Thunder, which is nice. Gun depression, 8 degrees, 15 degrees of elevation. I mean, 15 degrees of elevation is way less than a lot of other tanks, but at the same time, 8 degrees of gun depression. And that's, I think, way more important. Gun depression, I think, is way more important than gun elevation in this game. Obviously, it's a spider. Can climb a 90-degree slope, I think. Which is obviously proven by the fact that it's German engineering. So, what else do you need to know? Now, the gun, the 88mm Pz.Kpfw with 50 rounds of ammunition, is a good gun. I like it. And you can see what I've upgraded so far. I'm working on the suspension. I haven't gotten there yet. But I kind of made a beeline for artillery and this APCR, and we'll talk about it right now. The standard ammunition you get for this tank is not bad at all. The AP, I think, is perfectly adequate ammunition. The issue you run into is at range, its T-54s can give you problems because their front armor is so well sloped and their turret is so thick that at range, this ammunition can struggle. The APCR, on the other hand, which is what I generally load the most of for reasons I'll explain, has ridiculous penetration at just about every range. It goes, I mean, 170 at 2,000 meters is a lot of penetration. You have heat ammo, 100 at all ranges. Heat ammo's not really effective, in my opinion, at this rank. And then you have this high explosive, which I've never fired high explosive out of German guns, and I strongly recommend you don't, because the KV2 you fire high explosive because according to armored penetration charts, it has 75 millimeters penetration, and nothing at that tier has 75 millimeters penetration or armor. So you're gonna blast at whatever you hit. So maybe a Tiger, but even then you might just blow them up. So the reason I load APCR first, even though in my opinion AP is in most situations better than APCR, is that when you play rank 5 tanks, you think about the targets you run into. T-54s are a vast majority of the targets you run into. Maybe an IS-4 here and there, maybe an IS-3 here and there. Rarely do you see an ISU or any variant of that. This tank mainly sees SU-100s and T-54s. That is the extent of this tank's opponents. And the issue I have with the AP when I'm facing specifically T-54s is that I need the first shot to pen and damage, and basically I need to either knock their gun out, kill their gunner, do something to disable their tank so they can't return fire, because if they get the next shot, they're very likely to either knock my gun out or just straight up kill me. That's something else we'll talk about, is that the gun on this tank is fragile. I've heard that the whole idea of German tanks' guns being really easy to knock out was fixed, and I think on most other tanks I've never had an issue with it. On this tank I have an issue with it. Maybe it was just bad luck for, I don't know, like a bunch of games, but there might be some correlation there. The AP is not adequate, in my opinion, to penetrate the front of a T-54 turret, or to some degree the hull armor. So I more often than not load APCR first and load more of it, and then switch to AP if I'm in a situation where I don't need APCR, like very close range with like anything other than T-54 basically, or I'm expecting the side of an enemy tank. I want the AP rather than the APCR because I'll do more damage and probably have a higher chance of knocking them out. And the APCR, the T-54 is such a small tank. Here, we'll look at one right now. Here's my T-54. This T-54 is a very small, packed tank, right? I've had success shooting the front of the turret, like maybe here, and lighting it on fire. I don't know how, but I've shot the front of the turret, and I guess maybe through ricochet or whatever, I've hit the engine and destroyed T-54s from the front. I've also it's the one gun I've found that can reliably hit, penetrate, and kill T-54s because of the hyper penetration. Even on machines like the Jagdtiger, sometimes the T-54's turret is just too thick. But on the Panther II, it's not really an issue. Now, the tough... And then, well... Yeah, basically, the turret, it's not a guaranteed penetration because if you hit it at a bad angle, it's going to bounce. But, you can penetrate the turrets of T-54s from the front with this tank, with the APCR, which is why I kind of prioritized it. And, yeah. So the gun and the APCR and the AP, they all have great muzzle velocities. I actually don't know off the top of my head what they are. This is 1,200 meters per second and 1,000 meters per second. So it's the classic German muzzle velocity. It's accurate at very long ranges. It's basically a laser pointer. And that's really, really nice, especially on battles like Kursk. But, yeah. So that's kind of a rundown of the gun. The gun is adequate to pen everything that you see. I haven't really been able to shoot at IS-4s. There's not many of them. I don't think people realize, or I bet people do, they just probably don't have them yet. Realize how OP the IS-4 is. But the T-54, I mean, is really, really strong too. So, but this tank can, under certain circumstances, deal with T-54s, but it does get overmatched in a few. Overall frontal armor, the T-54 has a clear advantage. The hull is very strong, and then the turret is way stronger than the Panther IIs. But the Panther II is okay. Reload rate of 12 seconds. That means you'll beat just about every, I think you beat every rank 5 reload. 15.3 on the T-54, and that's clearly the fastest. So if you guys fire at the same time, you will get the next shot off, which a lot of times secures you the kill. It's also effective for long-range engagements because you can fire and you have a decent rate of fire, so you'll be able to get another shot downrange. And obviously, it's at 8.0 battle rating. It's the top of the tree. I've almost finished this tree. I just need the tiger, but that's going to be a while. I'm not excited for that one. But suffice to say, in the garage, this tank I think has a lot of upside. When you put it out there in the real world, it's less so. And yeah, so with that, let's just jump into the replays. Alright, so the reason I wanted to include this clip was less, well, it demonstrates something I've noticed about this tank in terms of other tanks, and it'll become apparent near the end of the clip. But it was also just it was honestly just the only simulator battle I got in this thing that I liked. I was like, okay, I had fun with this one. Rank 5 and 4 are just dominated by Russian tanks, and I mean, it's very I think it's safe to say that a global win rate at rank 5 between Germans and Russians is got to be somewhere close to an 80-20, 90-10 split, with Russians winning the majority. That was surprising as hell. I thought the IS-2 had just cooked me, or yeah, the IS-2 44 just cooked me. But he in fact hadn't. Somehow I bounced his shell, and that was never going to go in, but I needed to try and get his shell off before he went around the corner. Going to drop RD on him. He's likely to still be reloading, so I decide I'm going to push the corner and try and finish him off before he can reload. But he's already gone. At the time when I was playing, I was thinking, okay, he's going to go up the hill and come around behind me once he's loaded, and that'll be an issue for me. But at the same time, I can't really look away right here because there are tanks on the map. But I don't know. Eventually, I decide, okay, I'm going to go up on top of the hill because, I don't know, just a better place to be. I can't see the enemies here, so there's no reason to be here. But yeah, I know they're up there like in their spawn, so they probably have something to shoot at, or else they're camping really, really hard. But I'm gonna go ahead and turn the tank around, go up to the top of the hill, and see if I can't shoot some things. There's an AI. I think it's always funny how the AI turn their tank and leave their turret, and he just bounced something, which is kind of funny. All right, so we're getting up here for our targets. I'm gonna pull up over here. That was a shot incoming from some enemies over there, that T-54 in particular. And I didn't have the gun depression, so I backed up, got the gun down, fired, and knocked him out. I hit his turret, right? And I don't know how that one happened, honestly. I don't think it should have. And bam, there's that IS-2. He just lit me on fire, but I have a fire extinguisher, so I put it out. I'm swinging the tank around. I'm gonna get the next shot, so it's critical that this one does something, because I can't really afford to like lollygag with him. So I'm aiming. I have plenty of penetration. I have APCR loaded, and it's just a hit. That was kind of annoying. So the AI SU shoots me, and I rammed this guy because my goal is, okay, I need to either flip him over, call RD on myself, or I need to do something. I need to get his gun out of my face. So I decided, okay, I'm going to try and flip him over, and I'm doing a decent job there. But he kind of settles. I'm like, okay, this one needs to hit his gun. Okay, so I damaged his cannon barrel, but it's not out, so I'm still worried. And I'm kind of trying to like push and shove him and make it harder for him to shoot me. I don't know what the deal is, but maybe his gun was damaged, but there goes something, AI. And I shot him clean in the face and he died, which is nice. However, now we have these AIs, so I'm gonna knock out these guys. There we go. Shoot that guy once. So that was actually pretty intense when I was playing. I don't know why he didn't shoot back, but you know, whatever, second kill for me. I set that T-34-85 on fire. Now I'm gonna just punch one through this AI just because it's annoying that they're just sitting here shooting me. He's dead. That AI's dead. It's all tracked and stuff. I didn't know they paid attention to tracks. There's a T-54, which is annoying. I saw him and I was turning. He fires. And I didn't get a shot off because he was... I think I actually know I did. I think I did shoot. I don't know. I don't remember. But he's right on my ass now. I tried to get the shot into his engine deck, but... meh. So, okay. At this point... okay, I used my last fire extinguisher. My tank is currently broken. The turret drive is broken. My turret is on backwards now. He just shot me. He set me on fire for the 3rd time in this tank. And I'm like, okay, I'm dying, but you know what? We're gonna call Artie, and I'm just gonna run this guy over. This is what I noticed about this tank. It is incredibly good at flipping T-54s over. I've done this 2 or 3 times now. It's not just because I have those AIs there glitching him out. But what was this whole time, a buddy was sitting next to me. We were just yelling, "Get fucked!" Because the dude just got owned. He's flipped over. I'm dead as hell. I'm not gonna be able to do anything. I sit here and repair the tank. Oh no, I just burn out. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna leave. And then I actually just, there goes my ammo load. I burned out, but I flipped him over. Got him, you know. And he's gonna go on to wreck, and you know, so I don't get a kill for it because I actually didn't do anything to him. But it was worth it. It was worth it. So now my turret's still on backwards. But this is kind of what I mean though about Russian dominance. I think you're gonna see it soon. I'm just running up over here. There's a guy out to my right, and I see him right here, and I'm like, okay, there was someone else up here. There's a tank destroyer, but he's long gone. I turned, angled the armor, bam. Just use the extinguishers. I blew up before I could return fire. Sucks. Alright, so here's the realistic battle. And this game was kind of special. Mainly because it's, if I'm not mistaken, the only game I've won in this tank. Not because the tank is bad or anything. The tank, I think, is fine. It's just how OP Russian tanks are, you know? I got asked in the comments, is the Russian tanks worth researching? Absolutely. Because especially at ranks 4 and 5, they dominate, in my opinion. They're just fast, way too fast, way too mobile, way too well armored. Just it's dumb. It really is. But so that guy this is on domination. That guy just rushed into the cap, which is obviously unfortunate. But I'm gonna try and flank around. I have APCR loaded in case he only presents his turret somehow. But I'm gonna get around on this side of the rock because a lot of times people don't kind of defend themselves from this side. So I know exactly where he is. Bam. That's his vertical turret drive. The bomber, okay, the bomber missed right there. And this was kind of weird. Right, so I shoot him and I get an assist. I felt like I should have gotten a kill. You know, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm loading AP now because I'm gonna shoot a couple AI, and I don't need. And AP is better for the AI than APCR, obviously. And we have guys pushing up, so I wrecked that guy. I'm loading APCR now because there's a heavy tank down there. It could be an IS-3, could be an IS-4. Could be an IS-2. Either way, I kind of want some APCR just to be sure. But he's blown up anyway, which is fine by me. So we're here. I go for the engine fire and get it. So he's gonna burn down. That AI is gonna burn down. And at this point, I'm kind of not sure what to do with myself. Like, this is always an interesting portion of the battle. We're capping A, so we're securing the place up here. What I want to do is, if I can go over and sit on this ridge, I can use this gun, use the accuracy at range, and provide fire support to the rest of the team. However, when I get over here, I realize there's actually no targets. There's none. There's no one out here. I don't know where they are. I think what was happening, if I remember right, the most of the enemy team were all in planes, and there was like a couple guys in tanks. And I mean, I have nothing against people who fly planes in realistic, but I think it's really dumb when you queue up for a tanks game with the intention of only flying one plane. You know, I think that's kind of why we won this. I think we had more tanks on the ground. They didn't bomb us. We had a couple planes who shot down some of their bombers, and a lot of their players, I think, left after they lost their plane or something like that. I mean, that's no way guaranteed win because they have a lot of OP tanks, but it's okay. We will survive. But I decided to drop off the ridge. There were no targets. There was no point in me being up there. So I'm going to push around here, check their kind of their little spawn area here, like just make sure there's no one over here, and then proceed to B to cap it, because I want to win, obviously. I mean, you always play, I guess, sort of competitive games to win, and when you haven't won you just haven't won in a tank, you want to win. You know, I'm totally fine with. Usually, I hate capping when there's planes in the air because I just know I'm gonna get bombed. But I decided, you know what, I just need to go for it. This is the best opportunity we've had to win in a while. So T-54 over there. I decided I'm not gonna go in the cap yet. I'm gonna back up and put a shot on him because he's shooting at everyone else. But yeah, he's gonna get knocked out before me. Fire it anyway, just cause. And now I'm going to go sit in the cap. I'm going to cap this out, and then... And I wasn't really sure what I was going to do at this point. I was just sitting in the cap, minding my own business, sitting on the edge so I can run away, maybe, and try and get behind a rock or something. But it's going to cap. And then I noticed that there is actually an enemy in... Here's an AI right here. Bam. Just shoot him once. I think someone knocks him out. There's actually a T-54 running havoc on our AI over there. There's actually two of them. And the second one is a really interesting thing. This got hit by something. I have no idea what it was. But there's two T-54s over here, and one of them is going to be this. It was a little bit annoying. You know, I'll explain why when it happens. I'm going to rush over here. They're just feasting on AI, which debatable decision considering that they haven't won the game yet. But I'm going to get the gun down, put a shell in, because he deserves it. It's on fire, and he just fired too, so I don't think he's actually going to get to shoot me. And he doesn't angle his tank or anything, and I just finished him off. This is the second T-54. Now, he doesn't actually know I'm here, so I kind of derp. He has no idea I'm here. I don't go far enough. It's like, I don't know. I should have waited for the gun to settle more, but he was getting out of picture. So I back up because now he does know where I am. And actually, he shoots, and he damages my gun, which is really annoying. So I'm going to repair. He's got to come up the hill. I have a good repair crew, so I should be okay. I'm going to get the gun back before he gets up here. And there's my turret or whatever. My gunner came back to us. But and there we go. Everything's fixed. So I'm reloading, and he's not going to get up here before I finish reloading. He's still down there. Interesting tactic by this guy. He should have just immediately tried to bum rush, I guess, but basically I have all the advantage. He has no gun depression. He's not going to be able to get the first shot off. I'll get the first shot, in which case I either need to knock out his gun or just kill him, or do something where so that he can't actually return fire. And he's trying to get me to fire here. You'll see him poke the ridge, you know, and like wave his gun around a little bit, which is kind of what I wanted. He was getting bolder and bolder sort of each time. And I know that if I shoot his gun, I'm probably going to knock it out. But now looking back on it, I should just bum rush down the hill. I shoot his gun. It says cannon breach is blacked out. I don't know if that means he can't fire or not, but I think it should. And I'm going to run down this hill. This is what I should have done. I should have just done this immediately. And then I could have planted one into him, probably killed him. Now I'm trying to reload. He's swinging the gun around. He shoots me, knocks out my gun and my gunner. That was really surprising to me. And so I can't repair the gun right now because he's right here. He'll just flank around and kill me. So what I'm trying to do, boom, I get enough of the side skirts, I guess, into that shot so it doesn't knock me out. But I'm just like, okay, the game's almost over. I just want to live, so I'm going to flip you, or I'm going to try to. There we go. Get up under him. I don't know what it is, but this tank, and then someone comes along and kills him. I don't know what it is about. This tank can flip T-54s. Alright, so this clip there's nothing really special. This is about the armor. How hit and miss I think the armor is sometimes. So I've been a little bold. I was hoping our guys would go in there and cap, but they haven't. And what my goal is here is I'm trying to cut off their advance so that they turn and look at me so we can cap. And I've kind of gotten myself into a heap of trouble though. Take a shot and it doesn't do a whole lot. I'm still doing okay. I think my tracks ate a little bit of it. Shot that guy and did some damage to him. There you go. That's his cannon breach. So I'm not engine driver cannon breach. Boom. Take a hit there. Knocks out my commander and my gunner. But the tank is still in action. So right now I'm like, okay, well I've definitely opened a can of whoop ass that I cannot deal with. So there's another hit. He bounces off the angled front of my turret. He's already coming down. I'm looking to trying to shoot someone. And I'm just getting rushed now. There's an IS-3 that's going to come down. Here's another T-54. Gonna shoot this guy. Take a big hit right there, a couple hits. And there goes my gun. Which is annoying. That's basically I'm cooked at this point. They're just going to come down here and give me the coup de grace. I think it's that T-54 there on the left is going to do it. Put me out of my misery, boys. There. But the armor, kind of weird. Alright, in this clip, I wanted to show an example of what I think this tank is supposed to be doing. And kind of why it doesn't really fit at the moment. Because it's like not fast enough. It doesn't have enough armor. There's just problems. There's just problems. I'm engaging in like a little sniper duel with this T-54. I feel good about winning this in the end. However, he just needs to get one decent shot onto me, and I lose. But I have rate of fire advantage. I also have I can penetrate him. Put a shot in there, crit. I set him on fire. He returns fire and knocks out my gun. Well, he doesn't knock it out. There he goes. He blew up. I'm looking to drop Artie, and then I said, okay, well, I'll just throw it way the hell over there. Knocked out my gun. Well, he didn't knock it out, but it's basically knocked out. And killed my gunner. So my reload is about half now, or it's twice as much. And this game I really thought we were going to win. We don't, but I thought we were because we're capping A. We have a stronghold on the middle. They're all back there in their spawn basically. And I'm going to shoot this guy, set him on fire. This is what I mean. I think that shot went low and went into his hull. And it was APCR, so it had enough penetration. But he's going to burn down. This is where I think this tank excels, is in longer range, I guess, sniping. And using the APCR to give it the penetration where other tanks might struggle to penetrate at this range. So on Kursk, this tank can be really, really effective. But I'm just scanning around for targets now. That was kind of cool, that plane. That wasn't going to go in, but that was just a little clip I wanted to show you, to kind of show you an example of a Panther II being played well. Alright, so opinion time. What do I think of the Panther II? I think the Panther II, it's not enough, I think. It's kind of, I would call it almost a jack of all trades. It's a master, but it's a master of none. The gun has APCR with hyper penetration. The armor is usable but not, good. And it's quick but not super fast. Like, the top speed is great, but I don't know. It doesn't feel that fast when you drive. It feels kind of sluggish sometimes. I don't know. It feels, to me, it feels like machines like the T-54 are faster. I don't know why. It's a much lighter machine, less horsepower, less RPM, and the max speed is 6 kilometers lower, but it just feels more maneuverable, in my opinion. I don't know. It's interesting. I don't think it's a bad tank at all. Honestly, I think it's the best tank available at rank 5 in the current, just the way the game is played at the moment. It gets the 2 spawns, which is critical. The gun has plenty power to kill anything it runs across, has the penetration to do so as well. Machines like the Jagdtiger, machine like the Jagdtiger, has great frontal armor, but a massive football field of the lower plate, and the side armor is bad, and even though it's thicker than the Panther II, but even then it's just not enough. Obviously I haven't played the Jagdtiger 105, but from playing against them and playing with them, there's nothing particularly special about them. They still have the issue of 122mm guns being able to damage them at range if they hit them in the turret. So it's not good. The reason why I say the Panther II I think is the best out of them is it has something. It's quicker than them. It can get places that they can't faster. Even if I don't think it's hugely maneuverable, it's way more maneuverable than anything else available. And I mean, I'm comparing it to the T-54, and the T-54 is an exception because it's extremely maneuverable, in my opinion. It's ridiculous. This tank is a close second. The differences are slight. Also, the rate of fire on the gun lets you put a lot of effective fire into targets. Also, just the accuracy and the penetration kind of gives you an advantage in a way at range. The difficulty this tank faces is that currently there's only one map where it can really excel, and that's Kursk. And even on Kursk you have issues with IS-4s and T-54s just being quick enough where they can just run around on the flank, which is a problem. But I don't think it's bad. I think it's another tank that's kind of suffering from the fact that there's not that many rank 5 tanks, and they're just so heavily dominated by machines like the T-54 and the IS-4, where like this tank has huge armor and a big gun that'll wreck everything it faces. T-54, a really good turret, can be penned by the Panther II, as I showed in that last clip. Front armor, really good front armor, but can be penned, and is quick and durable, kind of durable, really. Panther II just isn't. I mean, the gun gets knocked out all the time. I don't know if that's... I mean, every game I played in this thing, the gun's been knocked out once. At least once. And I don't know if that's like a bug or anything, but it's bad. It's not good for sure. But, yeah, I think this is definitely a tank that I don't think should be rated at 8.0. I think it should be lower. Maybe like a 7. But the issue you have is this 88mm gun would be really strong. It's just like other tanks I can't think of at the moment. KV-85, I think, is a decent example. The gun is kind of the reason this tank is up here. And I can understand that because this gun is kind of powerful. But I don't know. I think once we get more, I mean, they're gonna have this. I mean, this tank in itself is kind of a paper tank. The I think this is the designed Panther II, whereas I think the original, the one they actually made in the war, had a 75mm gun on it. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what I read. And I don't know. I think they need to add other paper tanks, I guess, for the Germans to really balance out the two oppositions. And they also, I mean, I think when American tanks get here, I think we're going to have, with more competition and more variety, I think it's really going to improve the state at ranks 4 and 5. But rank 4 and 5 is just so heavily Russian dominated that, you know, it's really tough to play them. But I don't know. I think it needs variety. It needs something. This tank would be great if it had something that could sit up front and basically be the IS-4. You know, like an E100. I think the E100 would not be a bad addition to this game. Don't give it the. I mean, okay. Well, I guess give it the historically accurate gun, the gun they were gonna put on it. Because obviously they didn't put the turret on the chassis. I don't think they even built the turret. But if it was designed to have the 128mm gun, give it to it. And I feel like that'd be reasonable because the Jagdtiger has 128mm gun. Just make a heavy tank version of that. But you got to give the Germans something that that basically fills the role of the IS-4. I think if you give the Germans an IS-4S tank, I think things become a lot more balanced. To some degree, because then you'll see Panther IIs acting like T-54s, and then you'll have a big meaty, let's say an E100 that can deal with the IS-4, that can deal with the T-54s reasonably well from within certain circumstances if they're supported. And then you have, I just don't know. I just don't know. The Russian tanks are just really, really good, and it kind of, I mean, they're to a T overpowered, and the German tanks are, I think they're where they need to be, just the competition is so good that they're not, you know. But this is a tank worth getting. I think it's the best available because of the 2 spawns and the rate of fire of the gun and things like that, like I've discussed. But it definitely doesn't have the wow factor of the Jagdtiger, which is a pretty cool machine, even if it does get beasted and feasted on in a lot of games. But it does have a huge cannon, which is okay. So anyway, I think that's going to wrap up this review. If you've enjoyed, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, drop it down in the comments section. I'll be more than happy to either answer or refer you or find out the answer to your question. So yeah, if you enjoyed, like, favorites. Well, I guess I don't know. Can you favorite still? I don't know. Like, subscribe, do whatever you want. All helps, and I'll see you next time.